In the stillness of early morning, when the world holds its breath before dawn, a quiet suburban home in Georgia becomes the stage for an unimaginable revelation. A wife stirs, feeling the weight of an unspoken tension tugging her from the depths of sleep. She rises, moving through the shadowed halls, her bare feet tracing a path so familiar it's etched into her memory. But this morning is different. This morning, she is about to face the unknown, the unthinkable. As she steps into the living room, what she sees will change everything. In the dim, fragile light, her husband stands, a sight that will etch itself into her soul, an image impossible to erase. The man she trusted implicitly, once a rising star with the world at his feet, now looms over a scene that no wife could ever be prepared for. In this moment, a choice lies before her, a choice that will send shockwaves through her family, ripple into the lives of everyone around her, and cast a dark shadow of doubt over the very notions of loyalty and justice. What she decides next will stun not just her community but the entire nation, testing the limits of forgiveness and the resilience of conviction. Welcome to True Crime Story. I extend my deepest gratitude to all my viewers, and especially to my subscribers, for your unwavering support as we continue to grow and share both the known and untold true crime stories. Don't forget to subscribe to stay updated with our daily content. Justin Crawford was once a name that inspired cheers and admiration, a college football star celebrated for his raw speed, unyielding strength, and magnetic charisma that made him a hometown hero. Fans followed his every move, watching with pride as he embodied their hopes and dreams, bringing entire stadiums to life on game days. He was the beating heart of a small Georgia town, a symbol of what could be achieved through hard work and talent. But when the final whistle blew on his college career, the spotlight dimmed, and life beyond the field proved far more challenging to navigate. Beneath the confident public facade, Justin battled silently, adrift without the structure of the game that had defined him, grappling with a fading sense of identity and the relentless pressures that come with unmet expectations. A life that once seemed destined for greatness had slowly unraveled, slipping further from his grasp with each passing day. What were once celebrated achievements now became painful reminders of dreams fading into shadows. Fame, it turned out, was not enough to anchor him in the reality of everyday life. Standing steadfast by his side through every triumph and setback was Kenya, his wife, his unwavering pillar. Kenya had been Justin's rock, not only during the roaring highs of his football days but also in the quieter, more grueling moments when the applause had faded into silence. She was the one who believed in him when the stadiums emptied and the adoring crowd dispersed, urging him through dark times and walking with him as they struggled to rebuild a life beyond the glare of stadium lights. Kenya was more than a supportive partner, she was his confidant, his steady hand, and the glue that held their family together. Through marriage counseling and countless late-night conversations, she became the voice of reason, the voice that pushed them to face their issues, to mend what was broken, and to find a way forward. To Kenya, family was sacred, worth every ounce of effort, every tear, every moment of doubt. She offered him her trust, her loyalty, and her heart, steadfast in her belief in the man she knew he could be. But on this night, long before dawn's first light softened the sky, Kenya Crawford found herself abruptly awake. An intangible dread coiled in her chest. Her hand instinctively reached out to the empty space beside her in bed, the cool sheets confirming what she already feared. The silence in the room was unnerving, a hollow stillness that urged her to move. With an anxious heart, she slipped out of bed, bare feet meeting the cold floor as she moved down the dimly lit hallway. Shadows from the streetlights danced across the walls, casting long, silent shapes that seemed almost alive. Each step felt heavier than the last, as though some part of her already sensed the truth that would shatter everything. She paused at the living room doorway, breath caught in her chest as her eyes adjusted to the dim glow of dawn seeping through the blinds. And there he was, Justin, standing like a dark silhouette, frozen in a moment that would haunt her forever. But he was not alone. Just inches away sat a 12-year-old girl, her small frame rigid with fear. Kenya's heart dropped, disbelief colliding with a nightmare that no wife could ever fathom. The young girl, a relative who had come to their home for what was supposed to be a time of warmth and family, sat motionless, her trust shattered by the man who was supposed to protect her. The betrayal was made all the more monstrous by the familiarity of the relationship, the cruel twist that this violation came from someone who should have been her guardian. The betrayal cut deeper than words could capture, made all the more devastating because it involved someone Justin was meant to protect and nurture, not harm. In an instant, Kenya's mind spun with questions, disbelief swirling and colliding with an uncontrollable surge of anger that threatened to consume her. She felt frozen, unable to fully process the horror unfolding before her eyes. Each detail seemed surreal, disjointed from reality. For what felt like an eternity, she stood there, paralyzed by the weight of what she was witnessing, her heart hammering in her chest. Eventually, Kenya turned and walked back to their bedroom, but the hope of sleep had long vanished. Her mind raced, spiraling into a storm of thoughts and emotions that defied reason, betrayal, fury, and an unwavering certainty that what she had seen could not be ignored or silenced. As the first pale light of dawn seeped through the curtains, she lay there, body taut and mind resolute. This was not a truth she could bury, nor a secret she would keep. Whatever action she chose next would be decisive, fearless, and when the time came, the world would know where she stood. Should Kenya have called 911 the moment she witnessed the act? Should she have collected more evidence before taking that step? What could she have done differently? Share your thoughts in the comments below. In the days following that harrowing night, the weight of what transpired pressed heavily on everyone involved. The young girl, visibly shaken and struggling to find stability, finally found the strength to confide in her mother. Her voice trembled as she recounted the events, each word tinged with confusion and fear. She spoke of the terror she felt in those moments when her world fractured and changed forever. Each hesitant detail painted a picture that deepened the severity of the situation and fueled the investigation. The girl's mother, devastated and reeling, listened with heartbreak etched across her face as the reality of her daughter's ordeal became clear. Her report to the authorities set off a chain reaction, drawing the attention of local law enforcement. Detective Mark Scruggs, known for his sharp instincts and relentless pursuit of justice, was assigned to the case. He approached the investigation with methodical precision, piecing together the evidence with painstaking care. Interviews, forensic tests, and witness statements began to build a narrative, revealing a chilling sequence of events inside the Crawford home. When confronted, Justin Crawford vehemently denied the accusations, claiming that nothing inappropriate had occurred. But as the evidence began to pile up, cracks formed in his story. Under mounting pressure, he eventually changed his account, making the shocking claim that the young girl had initiated the encounter. This attempt to shift the blame, however, was met with widespread disbelief from both detectives and the community. Forensic evidence from the scene contradicted his version of events, aligning with the young girl's testimony and casting his confession in an unforgiving light. With each revelation, the case against Justin Crawford grew more damning. Detective Scruggs presented the findings in court, revealing the full extent of the betrayal and the grim nature of the crime. Charges were filed, and Crawford faced a litany of accusations that sent shockwaves through the community, shattering the image of the man they once admired and trusted. The foundation of his former life crumbled into ruins. What began as a fleeting moment of suspicion had erupted into a full-scale investigation, one driven by a quest for justice for the young girl, leaving no space for excuses or denial. For Kenya Crawford, the revelation was more than just betrayal, it was a fracture deep within her soul, a shattering of the world she thought she knew. The man she had once called her partner, her confidant, was now entangled in a reality so horrifying that accepting it felt like an unbearable burden. The pain was raw, searing, a relentless reminder of the devastation her family was bound to endure in the aftermath. As Kenya sat alone, wrestling with her tumultuous emotions, a profound question loomed over her. Should she protect her family's reputation, shielding them from the impending shame, or bring everything to light, ensuring that justice was served at the cost of exposing her husband's heinous acts? The choice was far from easy. She knew that speaking the truth would turn her life, and the lives of those around her, upside down. Yet the weight of silence, of bearing that darkness alone, was a burden she knew she could not carry. In those harrowing moments of quiet agony, Kenya grappled with the suffocating expectations that society placed upon her: loyalty, forgiveness, and standing by her husband no matter the circumstances. She could have chosen to look away, to bury the incident deep within herself and pretend it never happened. But each time she considered that path, the image of the young girl's innocence, her fragility, seared itself into her mind, stirring an unyielding sense of duty. Kenya realized that protecting the child and ensuring her safety mattered far more than preserving her family's image. This decision was rooted in moral conviction, a step taken not out of anger, but with a fierce determination to do what was right. Kenya understood that exposing the truth was the only way to begin her own healing, a means to confront the betrayal head-on. She knew she had to be strong, not just for herself, but for the young girl whose trust had been shattered. By choosing justice over silence, Kenya redefined the essence of loyalty, not to a person, but to the unwavering pursuit of what was right, even if it meant dismantling everything she once held dear. In the crowded courtroom, the tension was palpable. Kenya Crawford took the stand, steady yet visibly burdened. Her voice, imbued with both pain and determination, carried the weight of betrayal and the unflinching resolve to seek justice. Her testimony was thorough, each word precise and deliberate as she recounted the events of that night with calm clarity that resonated throughout the room. She spared no detail, choosing truth over self-preservation, a decision that laid bare her courage and the deep wound inflicted by her husband's actions. Detective Mark Scruggs stepped forward next, his words measured and authoritative as he outlined the painstaking work of the investigation. He detailed the evidence collected, the testimonies gathered, and the findings that had led them to this pivotal day in court. Each revelation added weight to the case, forming an unassailable narrative that unraveled the story of Justin Crawford piece by piece, leaving no room for doubt. Every eye turned toward Justin as he sat next to his defense attorney, his once confident demeanor now replaced with tense silence. His gaze remained fixed on the floor, avoiding the eyes of those who once cheered his name. The courtroom thrummed with tension, but outside, the community reeled. News of the case spread swiftly, igniting outrage and disbelief. Justin Crawford, once a beloved local hero, was now the focus of anger and a profound sense of betrayal felt by all who had admired him. Friends, neighbors, and devoted fans who had followed his journey from football stardom to a quieter, domestic life now questioned everything they thought they knew about him. In the weeks that followed, crowds gathered outside the courthouse, some holding signs of support for Kenya, others shaking their heads in shock. Local media reported every detail, each headline a painful reminder of the fracture in their once idolized community. The betrayal felt personal, as though each fan, each neighbor, had been deceived alongside Kenya. Her choice to confront her husband's crime head-on became a symbol of resilience, inspiring those around her to value truth over reputation. As the trial unfolded, the town watched, feeling the shift, the fall of a once revered figure and the emergence of a woman whose bravery would leave an indelible mark, not just on her family, but on everyone who witnessed her journey. For Kenya, the decision to expose her husband's actions was anything but simple. She felt the weight of their vows, the promises they had made to one another, and the trust she had once believed in. The pain of betrayal ran deep, but something even more powerful pressed on her, a sense of duty that refused to let her stay silent. Her thoughts returned repeatedly to the young girl whose innocence had been shattered. Kenya knew that silence would mean failing someone who desperately needed her protection. It would mean letting her husband's actions remain hidden, festering beneath the surface of a life they had once built together. Every step of her journey was marked with inner conflict. Exposing Justin would splinter their family, drag their private lives into the harsh glare of public scrutiny, and lay bare the darkest chapters of their marriage. But to turn a blind eye, to shield him from the consequences, felt like a betrayal of justice itself. Kenya's heart ached as she faced the realization that her choice to seek truth would redefine her future and alter the way the world saw her family forever. It was not an easy path, but it was the only one that felt true. Now, as she sat in quiet reflection, questions lingered. Could she have done anything differently? Was there ever a way to protect her family without sacrificing the truth? Kenya's choice to speak out challenged everything society expected of her: loyalty, discretion, forgiveness, and stood as a powerful reminder that sometimes the bravest thing to do is to break the silence, even if it means shattering the life you once knew. A loyal spouse is often expected to prioritize commitment above all else, but Kenya was forced to put justice above loyalty and truth above comfort. Would you have had the strength to confront the person you once loved and turn them in, knowing the impact it would have on everyone involved? Could you summon the courage to place justice before family, or would loyalty and love blur the lines? Share your thoughts in the comments below. In the end, Kenya's journey stands as a powerful testament that some choices define us, not just as partners or parents, but as individuals. She faced a decision that most of us hope to never encounter, choosing between standing by her marriage or standing up for what was right. As the trial reached its turning point, Justin Crawford's confession reverberated through the courtroom, a quiet, devastating admission that left no doubt about his guilt. For a heartbeat, the room was silent, a stunned, heavy stillness as everyone absorbed the magnitude of his words. Kenya sat motionless, her expression composed, barely masking the storm of emotions roiling within her. Around her, whispers rose, a wave of disbelief and disgust spreading through the crowd. The confession obliterated any remaining defense, laying the truth bare in its most brutal form. The charges, incest and sodomy, struck deeply, each word a grim reminder of the unforgivable boundary he had crossed. The weight of the legal system now bore down on him, and the potential sentences loomed, a stark reality that promised consequences not just for Justin, but for his family and everyone who had once idolized him. The future he once envisioned, brimming with dreams of fame and accomplishment, had been reduced to a list of charges and the cold confines of a prison cell. For those observing, the trial was an emotional roller coaster, each revelation another blow to those who had believed in his public persona. Shock gave way to anger, anger dissolved into sorrow, and finally, an unsettling sense of relief as justice came within reach. Yet, even as the charges mounted, a shadow of moral conflict lingered, a sense of loss, not for the man he was, but for what he could have been. Viewers were left to grapple with the profound waste of potential, the tragic dismantling of a once promising life. As the final moments of the trial approached, it became clear that the path forward would be anything but easy. For Kenya, it meant rebuilding from the ashes of betrayal, piecing together a life that had been shattered. For Justin, it meant confronting a sentence that would forever define him by the choices he had made. And for the community, it was a painful lesson in the contrast between admiration and reality, a sobering reminder of the power of truth and the high price of betrayal. To reveal what lay beneath the surface, Justin Crawford was sentenced to 12 years in prison, followed by 8 years of probation. This substantial sentence reflected the severity of his actions, ensuring he would face meaningful consequences. For his family and the community, the judgment offered a semblance of closure, even though the emotional scars would remain for years to come. As the gavel fell, the finality of the court's decision resonated through the room, marking the end of a chapter defined by betrayal and justice. In the wake of the trial, Kenya Crawford faced a new reality, one without the partner she once trusted and the life she had painstakingly built. Her decision to expose her husband's crimes was met with a blend of admiration and criticism. Many in the community saw her as a beacon of strength, applauding her bravery to pursue justice despite the personal cost. Yet others viewed her actions with doubt, questioning what it meant for her family's reputation and legacy. Each day, she navigated the challenge of rebuilding, finding comfort in the steadfast friends and family who supported her, and in the knowledge that she had done what she believed was right. The legacy of this case stands as a somber reminder of boundaries that must never be crossed and the unyielding pursuit of justice, no matter the personal sacrifice. Kenya's journey became a testament to moral courage, her willingness to tear away the veneer of normalcy to protect the innocent and confront a reality too painful to ignore. Her choice underscored the profound cost of seeking justice, a powerful reminder that doing the right thing sometimes demands everything we have. Was justice truly served, and what lasting impact does such a betrayal leave on all involved? Kenya's decision forces us to grapple with uncomfortable questions about loyalty, truth, and responsibility. It challenges us to ask ourselves how far we would go to bring justice to light, even if it meant unraveling the most intimate bonds of love and family. As we close this chapter, we leave you with a question: could you make the same choice? Would you have the courage to expose someone you love to protect others, even at great personal cost? Share your thoughts in the comments. In our next story, we'll explore another haunting tale of deception, betrayal, and the hidden lives people lead. Stay tuned as we continue to reveal the truths that lie just beneath the surface. If you found this story compelling and want to hear more accounts of deception, betrayal, and the relentless pursuit of justice, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.